You don't need a mansion or a Hollywood name to leave behind a story that's more than just fame.
Me to need a will, just a family, or a cat plotting world domination. Welcome to Celebrity Estate Chaos, where we prove a lot of things. Like how estate chaos isn't just for millionaires with private islands, anyone with stuff, relatives, or that one weird collection you think nobody's fighting over. And chances are, they will. Anyone.
You know that feeling, that sudden jolt when the ground moves. Maybe it's tiny, just enough to make your coffee slosh, or, your cat gives you that look.
Yeah.
But for that split second, your brain just poof, freezes.
Oh, yeah, that jolt of panic. It's so visceral, isn't it?
Totally.
It's that moment your brain is trying desperately to figure out what's happening, this huge disruption. And for a lot of us,
Yeah.
it just stalls.
Right. I remember one time, moderate shake, nothing huge, and my brilliant emergency plan was just staring blankly.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously wondering if my upstairs neighbor was just really aggressively rearranging furniture. If that sounds familiar at all, well, this deep dive is for you.
Absolutely. We're diving deep into earthquake preparedness today. And specifically, why actually practicing a response, those simple drills, why they matter so much more than people think.
Yeah, it's not just like a school assembly thing.
Not at all.
Yeah.
It's critical for your home, for businesses. Doesn't matter if it's big or small.
And we've been looking at a bunch of articles, different writings on this, some really valuable stuff from Tina Jin. You can find her work on places like Medium, Substack, Vocal.
Right. And our goal here, using these sources, is to really unpack why we panic like that. How practicing, deliberately rehearsing a response can help bypass that freeze, or at least manage it.
And give you actual steps, right? Practical things you can do now.
Exactly. Actionable stuff. So you're ready when the Earth reminds us who's boss.
Okay, let's get into that freezing thing first. What is actually happening in our heads? Why do we just seize up?
Well, it really boils down to how our brain handles a massive, sudden threat when it hasn't got a script, basically.
No plan.
No plan. Your primal bits are screaming, danger!
Right.
Because of the motion, the chaos. But if your conscious mind hasn't rehearsed specific actions for this specific danger.
An earthquake.
Exactly, an earthquake. It just doesn't know what to tell your body to do.
So it hits pause, jams up.
Pretty much, yeah. It stalls. There's no pre-programmed pathway ready to go. And the sources we looked at really hammer this home. In a crisis, you don't magically rise to the occasion.
Oh, interesting.
You actually fall back to whatever level of preparation you have.
Okay.
So if your earthquake prep level is 0, freezing is often the default. Or, maybe random unhelpful actions.
Unlike my cat, who definitely has a plan, usually under the bed.
Exactly. Your cat bolts for cover instinctively. It's a kind of practiced response, seeking immediate shelter. We humans, we need to build that response intentionally.
Okay, so the cat's got the instinct down, but we can catch up. We build this muscle memory. Is that what the sources call it?
That's the perfect term for it. That's where drills, actual practice come in. They aren't just busy work, not at all.
Right.
You're essentially programming your body, training it to react correctly, even when fear is kind of short-circuiting your thinking brain.
So the body takes over.
Yes. It performs those vital survival steps automatically. Like, you don't think about every single muscle movement when you ride a bike, right?
Bro, definitely not.
It's like that. Or typing. It needs to become automatic.
And the core action is drop, cover, hold on. Seems so simple.
Almost too simple, maybe?
Yeah, but the material we reviewed is crystal clear. That simple action needs rehearsal. It absolutely has to be practiced.
It really, really does. Because when you're under that much stress, that much confusion, even basic steps, they can feel impossible to remember, let alone do correctly.
Okay.
Practicing drop, cover, hold on means when the shaking starts, boom, your body knows. Drop down, crawl under something solid, protect your head and neck, and hold on tight.
Until it stops. It becomes a reflex.
Exactly. An automatic response.
Well, unfortunately, we've seen what happens when that basic reflex isn't there. The sources share some really tough lessons, stark examples.
They really do. And these stories, they just underline why this prep isn't just, nice to have. It's essential. Look at Japan, 2024. That 7.6 quake in Ishikawa.
Over 100 deaths.
Yeah. And the sources point out a lot of victims were simply caught unprepared. Now, obviously, building safety is huge. But many injuries, many deaths happen in situations where just doing drop, cover, hold on, or getting to a known safe spot quickly It could have saved lives.
Especially in workplaces, right? If there aren't protocols.
Precisely. Or think about Turkey and Syria in 2023. That catastrophic 7.8 quake, over 50,000 lives lost.
Just devastating.
Absolutely. And again, building standards were a huge issue, yes. But the sources also stress the tragic lack of just basic, widespread preparation. People didn't know how to react in those first crucial seconds. Offices collapsed, often with no warning systems, no training for the people inside.
Even smaller quakes show the gaps, don't they? Like California in 2022. Not a monster quake, but
But it knocked out power, cell towers went down.
social media gone.
Right. And suddenly, the sources note, everyone relying on digital stuff realized, oh, wow, we need printed plans. We need backup communication. Retail shops were just scrambling. No clear procedures for staff, for customers. Chaos.
There's a really clear example from Mexico City in 2017, wasn't there? Comparing schools.
Yes, a fantastic illustration. Sources contrasted schools that did practice drills regularly. They evacuated quickly, calmly, orderly.
Okay.
And then sometimes right next door, schools that didn't practice, total chaos, panic. Huge difference.
And it's not just schools. New Zealand, 2011, businesses that practice drills got people out faster. Fewer injuries.
Significantly fewer injuries, yes, and faster evacuations compared to businesses that hadn't drilled.
And that prep pays off after the shaking stops too, right? Helps recovery.
Absolutely. The sources mentioned Alaska, 2018. Offices that had emergency plans, knowing where to meet, how to communicate. Some were back up and running in days.
Wow, days.
Yeah. Others, without that plan, they were scrambling for months, just trying to figure out who was okay, what the next steps were.
So the pattern seems undeniable across all these different places, different quakes. Preparedness isn't. It's not overthinking.
No, it's survival insurance.
Yes.
Practical insurance. And these examples, they're from all over. It's a crucial reminder that big earthquakes aren't just a, West Coast problem. They can happen in many places.
Okay. The why is incredibly compelling. It saves lives, saves businesses. But let's be honest, doing drills can feel a bit awkward.
Yeah. A little silly sometimes, especially at home.
Totally. Or even at work, outside that school setting. How do we make this practical? Less cringy.
The sources actually have some great ideas for that. For families at home, make it less formal. Like, give your drills a name.
Oh, like what?
Shake It Saturday or Tremor Tuesday. Something memorable, maybe a bit fun.
Haha, I like that. Shake It Saturday. Or maybe just spring a surprise drill. Like yell, earthquake, drop, cover, hold on, and see what happens.
Exactly. Use the reaction, maybe the confusion, as a teaching moment.
Yeah.
Okay, that took us 30 seconds. Let's try to beat that.
And assigning roles. That makes sense, too.
Yeah, involve everyone. Who grabs the go bag, who's responsible for the pets, who checks on grandma. It clarifies things.
You could even gamify it a bit. Time yourselves. Maybe the fastest gets, I don't know, bragging rights or a small treat.
Whatever makes it stick. The key is routine. Maybe aim for once a month, just a quick run through.
And it's not just the drop, cover, hold on part, right?
No.
There's more to home prep.
Oh, definitely. The sources strongly recommend doing regular hazard hunts. Walk around your house specifically looking for earthquake dangers.
Like what are we looking for?
Is heavy furniture, like bookshelves or tall dressers, bolted to the wall studs? Are computer monitors secured so they don't fly off desks?
Okay.
Do you know where your gas shut-off valve is and how to turn it off safely if you smell gas? Simple stuff, too, like not putting your bed right under a heavy chandelier.
Good point. And pets. Can't forget the pets.
Absolutely crucial. Pet prep is key. Extra food, water, have their leashes or carriers somewhere you can grab them fast. Make sure their ID tags are current.
And maybe some comfort items. Treats. Keep them calm.
Definitely. Anything to reduce their stress, too.
Okay, so that's home. What about businesses? Small businesses especially. Maybe not huge corporations with safety departments.
Yeah, this applies just as much whether you're in a regular office or, like so many people now, working from home.
Right. The need for a plan is the same, even if the environment's different.
For an office setting, aiming for quarterly drills is a good target. And practice the drop, cover, hold on in that workspace. Where are the sturdy desks? Where should you move away from? Like big glass windows or partitions.
Identifying those safe spots beforehand makes sense.
And it's really smart to designate someone, maybe a couple of people, as team leads or safety coordinators.
What would they do?
After the shaking stops, they can help check if everyone's okay, coordinate things, maybe guide people to a safe assembly point outside if you need to evacuate.
And the emergency kit. Gotta have one at work, too.
Non-negotiable. Water, flashlights, spare batteries. Definitely a printed list of employee emergency contacts.
Because phones might be down.
Exactly. Basic first aid supplies, maybe some high-energy, non-perishable snacks, and crucially, make sure someone knows how and when it's appropriate to shut off utilities like gas or electricity if there's damage.
Okay, what about the work from home folks? We're not off the hook, are we?
Haha, definitely not.
Oh, no.
Your home is your office. So same principles apply. Bolt those bookshelves. Secure that monitor.
It could become a projectile.
Absolutely. And your work-from-home go bag needs tech stuff too, right? Power banks for your phone, chargers.
And printed contact lists again, colleagues, family, emergency numbers.
You got it. Don't rely on digital only when networks might be overloaded or down.
And if you have pets at home while working, they're part of the WFH plan too.
They're your furry or scaly coworkers. Gotta include them.
One area the sources mention that seems really important is for businesses that deal directly with the public, client-facing ones.
Yes, that adds another whole layer of responsibility, doesn't it?
Yeah, you're not just looking out for your team, but maybe a shop full of customers who have no idea what to do or where to go.
Precisely. The sources really emphasize training staff not just to protect themselves, but how to calmly guide customers to safe zones during the shaking.
But it's also about what happens right after, isn't it?
Yes. Business continuity. How do you handle transactions? If the power's out, the internet's down, your point-of-sale system is dead.
Oof.
Need backup plans.
Backup systems, maybe practiced manual processes, and communication becomes critical. How do you reach your staff? How do you update customers?
Especially if phone lines are jammed.
Right. The sources suggest things like setting up an SMS text message tree in advance, having pre-drafted email updates ready to send if you have backup power, using social media if you can get online somewhere.
So when you put all these pieces together, the brain freezing, the power of drills, the lessons from real disasters, these practical steps for home and work, it's not just about surviving the shaking itself.
Not at all. It's about building the confidence, that automatic response that lets you handle what comes next. The aftershocks, the power outages, the communication breakdowns.
Getting back on your feet. Exactly. Preparedness shifts you from potential panic to action, to resilience.
It gives you back some control, doesn't it, in a situation that feels totally uncontrollable.
That's a great way to put it, a sense of agency. And for anyone listening who's feeling motivated now, the sources did mention a specific tool.
Right, the disaster-ready toolkit.
Yes. Described as having, I think, 10 practical checklists. Covering drills, go bags, pet prep, securing your space, things like that. Sort of a roadmap.
A roadmap to get started. And it's mentioned as being available at the bookstore referenced in the source material. So there's a concrete place people can look for these resources.
Yeah, it's about turning that awareness that, oh, I should do something, into actual tangible steps.
So, wrapping up this deep dive, the big takeaway from all this material seems clear. Practicing your response now.
Even if it feels awkward.
Right. Even then, it's the absolute best way to stop that dangerous panic later. When the shaking starts, you want instinct, not indecision.
That practiced response gives you your best shot. Protecting your family at home, keeping your business and your team safe, it really is crucial.
So here's a thought to leave you with. If the shaking started right now, this very second, would your first move be that practiced automatic response? Drop, cover, hold on.
Or would you still be frozen for a moment, wondering what just happened? Maybe even reaching for your phone first. Think about it. Your cat probably has a plan ready to go.
That's a wrap
Do you?
for today's chaos. If you learned something, laughed a little, or now feel slightly more prepared for life's curveballs, we've done our job. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel and follow us on social media. Catch us on Spotify, YouTube, and anywhere podcasts make you rethink your to-do list. Thanks for tuning in. And remember, if it's important and unexpected, we probably cover it. Stay safe, stay curious, and we'll see you next time.